Traders, hello, and I hope everyone's having a nice weekend. It's Saturday night for me. Oh, look at this, everything pops up. Just when I start to make the video, everything sort of Facebook notifications, YouTube notifications, oh man. Alright, so I've just been making some observations. I'm obviously new to the penny stocking world. I actually, just a brief background, I come from Forex. So very low risk, very low leverage, higher time frame trading, so not scalping. And it's taken me probably 10 months and now I'm actually profitable. I was demo trading a lot and it's hard. Some people treat, if you treat a demo account like real money, I, felt like it was, real money. If you have the account for so long and it's got the exact amount of money that you're going to put in and you just treat it, like for me, it really worked. It's not for everyone, obviously. Some people, if you treat it like a game, well, you should sort of treat this like a game. You shouldn't really, what I find is if you do have a trade running, probably don't have the profit loss thing going as well. Like obviously, just keep track of what the price action is doing. But, I just want to sort of, I've titled it being a consistently profitable trader is against human nature and my thoughts on how to combat this. So what I'll do is I'll go through a few things that I've actually utilized that have helped me with my journey. I mean, Forex is different than penny stocking. I've come to learn that, straight away. And obviously my background is in high time frame stuff. And what I mean, 4-hour and daily charts. So I'll wait 4 hours for a candle to print and then I'll react to it. It's, I'm in trade for weeks at a time. So it's not like a quick scalp on, such as GPRO. I was in that for 5 minutes or so. So this is a huge learning experience for me, but I just want to give you guys a list of what I've, been taught with my mentor in, currency trading and how I've applied it. And now, obviously, I'm transitioning to penny stocking as well, and I've sort of applied this to it, and I just want to let you guys know, how I try and combat trying to become a profitable trader, more consistently profitable trader. All right, so we'll start from number one. So it's a brief, explanation that I can go in a little bit more in depth. All right, so treat this like a business or work. Don't be undisciplined with your trading. Don't get too relaxed, and you want to have a routine pre-market open, and don't become complacent. So what I sort of mean by this, treat it like a business or work, is that you just don't go to work. You might, if you're a trader, you might go to work in pajamas and you just walk into your office. So you're sort of in a different frame of mind. Like you want to be relaxed when you trade, but you don't want to be too relaxed, and you want to have a plan, you want to have a routine, you want to have some preparation going in. So the watch lists are really good. I see the guys with their watch lists and that they're putting it all up, and so you want to be logged in, you want to be ready to go, a couple of hours before really. It's like for me, I like to get to work a little bit early. I like to have everything sorted, everything ready to go, so I'm not rushed and frantic. And like if forever you just get in there and you're not really having a plan for market open, you just get in there a few minutes before, I wouldn't trade, honestly. Like if you're a beginner trader, just don't trade. Pardon me. I would just watch what's going on and just make observations and watch the price action, and you might see what Tim's doing, especially the LBUY. He even did a pre-market video. The people aren't watching that shit and they're not prepared. Fuck me. Like, holy shit, you're paying your money for the silver subscription, and he was mentioning he was going to make it. So you've got to be prepared. Like, that's so important. Like, with anything you do, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. All right? Okay, so stick to your rules and don't trade with real money until you learn what systems suit your personality best, such as, breakouts or dip buying. So what I mean by that, I'm finding I come from like a trend trading background. Obviously in currency is a little different because, a lot of the penny stocks do nothing and then there's these huge reactions, but some of them do, like XXII was pretty good. That was trending nicely and broke out. I wasn't watching that, and that was all annoying. I saw people talking about it, and I was like, oh man, like that's just, but that's life though. And it cracked 204, whatever it was, and I've been watching that on the Thursday night, and I'm finding that suits me a little more than dip buying. Dip buying is you've really sort of And it was interesting watching where it broke LBUI and it broke down to where 188, 189. It really hovered around that. That's a little more high risk because you've got to be very confident in closing a trade quickly. Because if LBUI cracked and broke down even further to I don't know, $1, you've got to be ready to close that out very fast. So for me, just my background of things happen very slowly when I trade, my currency stuff. So if I'm making a trade like on the euro, for example, that will be set and forget pretty much. That will be a set and forget. So because I have a wide stop loss, a very low risk, I'm trying to capture a nice developing trend. So but I saw the merit in the in LBUI, and I actually tried to execute that. I couldn't execute because of PDT. Because I made a trade on GoPro, or GPRO. So that's what you got to remember. Just because people are making a lot of money out of certain trading systems, you've sort of if you have a shitload of disposable income, fair enough. And if you've got a finance background and you're new to penny stock, you probably can trade with a small $5,000 account. But for me, that's not really appropriate. So, and with interactive brokers, I've got to have a 10 grand minimum to around 12 grand Australian dollars. So yeah, you just treat, it just helps your ability to execute. For example, there was another trade. What was it? It might have been DCTH, and that collapsed pretty quickly. And I realized how fast things move, and I wasn't prepared to execute the plan and to fill the orders. So you've just got to understand, and it helps. And that was a $60 loss or whatever, and I've lost on AKS and Cool as well with similar sort of issues where I misread things. And it's better to learn with a simulated trading platform instead of throwing away real money, because what can happen is you might get a little upset and you might start revenge trading, and it can really do some damage. In one night you can lose thousands of dollars pretty easily. So you have to understand that trading is scary because it lets anyone just throw money around, and it can really be quick to blow up in your face. Alright, so that's why I say stick to your rules. Alright, and don't trade with real money straight away. It's a learning process to begin with, okay? Alright, so, and don't have a time frame on it, honestly. Just, you'll know when you're ready, okay? When you're, consistently being profitable, you're seeing trades, and, if you don't trade regularly, that's fine. A few times a week is, for me, that's how it was. I think I had 3 trades this week. So I had a GPRO, I had, what was it, the start of the week? Might have been, I know I had 2 last night. It's all up there, guys, on my dashboard. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, you don't have to have heaps of trades. That's, you be picky. Alright, so you've got to have a good understanding, number 3, guys, of risk management, and you be strict. So do not risk too much. So what I mean by that is, if you're a really experienced trader, then you might have a gauge system on, a high probability play compared to others. But when you're starting off, really, 20-30% of your account or whatever you want to do, and you stick to that. You don't, you don't lose a trade and then you double the risk, because that's going to be counterproductive. Okay, so really, risk management should be the number 1 thing. Okay, you've got to protect your equity at all costs. All right, that's extremely important. All right, so if you're not in a good place mentally, such as work, stress, family, or relationships, don't trade. You must be able to have a focused mind when trading to pick up on the patterns you've been saying. So what I mean by this, if you've had a bad day at work or whatever, and you're flustered, and this also brings into not being prepared, and there's compromising your routine pre-market open. So I would say just don't trade. I would, and if you're someone who's hot-headed, you've got to be very careful, because trading is for people who, you see these movies on the trading floor and it's manic. Really good traders, it's not like that. Okay, I know a really good institutional trader. He's very boring, and it's very conservative, and it's methodical. It's not, shouting and franticness and mania. It's none of that shit. That is not how you make good decisions. So if you're not in a good place, or you've been drinking as well, do not trade when you've been drinking. That's really fucking dumb. Okay, so don't do that. I mean, if you have a shitload of money, yeah, and you've been doing it a long time, this is more applicable to beginner and novice traders. So if you are watching this and you're like, I've been doing this 10 years, 20 years, you probably can. You can have a few red wines, whatever, it helps you relax. But, you really, if you're just new to this, you don't want to be trading drunk or whatever. That's not really, you don't want to do that. All right. So if you have a loss, walk away. And personally, I don't trade anymore that day. Yeah. So if you do have a loss, I'm not talking about like a scratch, like I had $30 on GPRO that I lost. I'm talking about like a proper loss. Like to the plan, it goes to your mental stop loss or whatever. Like you've made a bad call. It's incorrect. Walk away. And if you have 3 losing trades in a row, I stop for the week and recalibrate. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking a full week. So if Wednesday, I go to Wednesday. Or at least to Monday. So that's how I approach things. All right, which can happen. 3 trades in a row. It's just statistics. That's just how it works sometimes. Sorry guys, it's the weekend, so time for some M&Ms. All right. Okay, this is another good point. I'll try and keep this quick as possible as well. All right, so it's human nature that being a consistently profitable trader is very difficult. Losing is always going to happen. So you have to realize that if someone's telling you like a system's not going to lose it, that's a lie. The best trade is around 70 or 80%. Okay? Alright, so losing is always going to happen. How you react to this is what separates the good traders from the 90% of retail traders who can continually throw money away by not learning from their mistakes. So, how I do it. I take a trade. It goes on. It closes. I win or I lose. I take a screenshot and I file it away in winning and losing trades. All right, then I analyze it on the weekend. Or I probably analyze it that night as well. But then I rehash it again on the weekend, on the Saturday. I did that video yesterday. I didn't think I'd actually have time to do this, but it's like 9:40 at night. I have no life. I have no social life, so I'm making another video. I can't help myself. But you've got to learn from your mistakes. So jumping in early, and you've just got to learn from the mistakes, and that comes down to also learning how to read price action and timing your entries and exits. That's really important, and that comes with practice. So that goes back to my other point about having a demo account. You learn from those experiences, because you could have the right thesis, but it's not actually the right time to enter the trade, or you exited too soon. So that's another thing to remember. All right. So learning how to trade takes time. It's like being a pilot. Why is that? It's like being a pilot. They ain't going to let you captain a 747 straight away. The good and the bad thing about trading is, you can start making money straight away, or you can start losing money straight away. So there's no real barriers to people putting money into the stock market. Okay, like if you've got the money, you can do it. So it's like flying a jet, with not knowing what you're doing. So the probability of being catastrophic is very high. So you've got to be aware of that. So that's why I'm saying, don't just jump in with a full-size account. Okay, that's just, maybe if you're in the challenge and you're under strict supervision, maybe, but me personally, I'm very conservative. That's who I am as a trader, so I probably wouldn't be doing that. So that's why I'm just saying it takes time. All right, and I think these guys, to be a proper pilot of a big plane, it's like 10,000 hours minimum to get your commercial license, and another few thousand. It's just a shitload of money a lot of time. So, please, this is a long process. All right. Okay, so I know Tim says this a lot, but study the past. These patterns pop up. Come up time and time again. So we saw that this week. I think some weeks it's not going to be as active. That's the same for my Forex stuff, So, but the patterns are reoccurring. So when you watch something from 2008, 2009, it's still extremely relevant. Like I was looking through Tim Fundamentals Part 2 the other night through dinner, and it's just applicable. It's just the more you read and you watch that sort of stuff and you see the price action, and you know when to enter and know when to exit, it's just that simple. So you've just got to be aware of these things. All right. I've already mentioned this, but I just want it to be an official point. So learn to read price action. You know, that could just mean just watch the markets live and see how price interacts with support and resistance zones. And if you have no idea, what I'm talking about here, this is right. I just read this up just before. If you have no idea what I'm talking about here, please research this and don't trade with real money until you understand the basics. So if you don't know what price action is or what a candle means, like the high, the candle, the low, the body, the close, the open, you've got to research this. Just type it in Google. It's all free shit. If you don't know, well, fuck me. Like, you're not really ready to trade. Like, you've just got to understand. It's like turning a car on. If you want to drive, you got to learn how to turn the car on. So this is the raw basics. It's like not being able to open up a door. Okay, like you have to understand these things. If you don't, then don't complain to anyone when you blow an account up if you're trading with real money, because that's just dumb. All right. Number 10. Don't have any expectations of the markets. So Mark Douglas wrote a great book, Trading in the Zone, about not having any expectations. And I sort of wrote this because I saw a lot of stuff in the Tim Alerts chat room where people were like, oh, I'm so mad, I missed this, I missed that, holy fuck. Like, the market doesn't know you anything. If you're mad about this or that, or like GPRO, like I closed out early, I noticed Tim closed out early as well. I didn't like the price action. It wasn't doing anything. But I guess I'm not used to, I think the problem was earnings winners just haven't been moving. So that was in the back of my mind. I closed out. It was a scratch. It was $35 loss on a 12 grand account. That's not, I'm going to be able to eat. It's okay. So you've just got to remember that. And then what I mean by this is, so if you don't have any expectations of the markets owing you money, and if you trade your plan and you lose, suck it up and move on. It's like, if you're a cab driver and you've been doing it for 20 odd years and someone jumps out and doesn't pay the fare, are you going to stop, being a cab driver? Holy shit, these things happen. So don't revenge trade. So what this refers to then leading on to, so if you do have expectations, this can then trigger revenge trading. And revenge trading is what blows accounts up. This is what causes people to commit suicide. All right, so this is extremely important. If you have expectations, this can trigger revenge trading. Which will exacerbate the issue and making recovery, extremely difficult. I'm going to make this seem sort of right because I'll upload this as well. I'm going to upload this, okay? All right. These are just my thoughts from being in the Tim Alerts chat room. Yeah, so this is relative to number 10. And just seeing, different questions and everything like that. And, I don't want to call out people and just be like, what the fuck you talking about? But, I thought I would take the time on a Saturday night to put this together, as these feelings have helped me in my trading journey in Forex. Yes, Forex. For 10 months of demo trading and then trading a small live account recently has been unprofitable, but only slightly since, these markets don't move as aggressively. All right, so what I'm just trying to take out of this, guys, is, I am a novice trader, but I wouldn't call myself a raw beginner. And, these above points have helped me, just have a slight edge. And I can see and understand things here in Penny, and you can really make money quite quickly if you're picky, if you're disciplined. So I hope this has helped, guys. Sorry about how long it's taken to put this together, but I'm going to upload it straight away. Have a good night, guys, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.